In this video, we are going to make a top lift updraft stove. In short, it's called as a TLUD or a TLUD stove. I'm Josh and welcome to my channel Video Epo. I had made a video on how to make a rocket stove, and this video was made in Tamil, my native language. This video garnered a lot of views. There were a lot of wonderful suggestions and comments. Based on these comments and suggestions, I made another version of the rocket stove, and I've been using this rocket stove ever since I made it. Now there was one comment in particular that stood out, and it asked me to make a top lift updraft biochar stove. That's quite a mouthful, but I did not know what that was, and I had to look into Google to what that is. So I referred to Google and I found that it's also called as TLUD or TLUD stoves, sometimes also called as pyrolytic gasifiers or sometimes gasifiers in general. Now before getting into the build process of this gasifier, let's try and understand how this works so that you will be able to make it with the materials that you could find, maybe tweak it a little bit and come up with your own design ideas. For easy understanding, let us look at the cross section of the TLUD stove. There are two chambers usually constructed with concentric cylinders. The top is sealed, leaving a gap between the walls of the container. The bottom of the outer cylinder has larger holes which serve as air inlet. The inner cylinder has holes on the top and comparatively smaller than the holes in the bottom. The air passes through the larger holes either through the draft or by the aid of small fans if required. This air will exit through the top hole and aid in the combustion of the biomass that is put in the inner cylinder as a fuel. As the fuel burns, pyrolysis occurs in the layers underneath it and results in the formation of wood gas, which is released through the bottom holes. This gas then mixes up with the air and is carried forward to the fire and supports further burning of the fuel. This cycle continues till all of the wood is charred, and then we can sprinkle some water on the top and prevent further combustion. At this stage, the residual material left behind is the biochar. We all know that to make charcoal, we need to burn wood in the absence of oxygen, for which we again use wood. But the method that you just saw, the wood is charred by its own heat, and we can use this heat to cook food. Plus the residual material, the biochar, can be used for soil enrichment or it can be used as a regular charcoal. So it's a win-win situation in every aspect. What is the difference between charcoal and biochar, you may ask? Both biochar and charcoal can be used in smokeless heat applications. But then biochar can also be used in soil enrichment. Microbes love biochar, which is not the case with charcoal. Now that we understand the benefits and the process of making a TLUD stove, let's make one. To make the TLUD stove, we need two concentric cylinders, and I'm using aluminum cooking containers. What I have here is a couple of aluminum kitchen containers. I think these are used for boiling milk or making biryani. I'm not really sure about that part. The reason for using aluminum is it's quite cheap. The rate is written on the body of the container itself. I didn't do that, the shopkeeper did. And the reason for using aluminum for this particular project is it is quite easy to make holes in these containers. And I think we'll be making a lot of holes in this project. If you notice closely, one of the containers is a little bit smaller than the other container. In fact, for the smaller container, I wanted something much smaller, but this is the size I could find despite searching for them in the entire city. Now, if you notice, the diameter is also a little bit smaller, the height is also a little bit smaller. So, when we place the smaller container on top of the larger container like so, the lip of the smaller container sits on the lip of the larger container. And when we place all of the wood here inside, the fuel, it is going to add some weight and the seal is going to be much better. This way, if you notice, there is going to be a small gap in the bottom here, and there is going to be gap between the walls of the first container and the second container. And the first thing we are going to do is make a lot of holes. We might need a drilling machine for this project, for we have plenty of holes to drill. I am marking a grid on the bottom of the smaller container. It would aid in making equidistant holes. The aluminum sheet metal is not able to withstand even the slightest of the dent. It is obvious that this is not an ideal choice, but this is my first attempt and I am merely testing this concept. I've made some holes in the bottom area. The original plan was to make holes in the entire bottom section, but then I've made holes only in the outer region, and I thought making holes in the entire bottom section would be totally unnecessary. It's one of those last minute hunch. To make the holes on the top part of the smaller cylinder container, the circumference can be measured and divided into equal parts. Tailoring tape is very useful for these kind of jobs. The lip of the container is used to clamp the container upside down onto the workbench. This way it is safer to drill the workpiece. Likewise, we also need to drill the holes on the larger container, but just a few millimeters above the bottom. After 1 hour of work and a lot of aluminum shavings here on my table, I've got the workpieces here. The smaller container has got the holes on the top as well as on the bottom here. The larger container has holes in the lower region just above the bottom. Now, when I slide the smaller container into the larger container like so, it is going to form a seal on the top here. Air will travel through the holes of the bigger container, travel along the walls and exit through the holes of the smaller container. While doing so, it will support the fire burning in the middle of the smaller container. Layers of wood underneath the burning layer get charred and release wood gas which will exit through the holes in the bottom. But because air is already flowing through these holes, the wood gas will mix up with the air and exit through the smaller holes on the top here and support the flame. This is the plan for now. Let's see if it works. The wood needs to be filled in the container until it reaches the holes that you see in the inner container. Let me fill up the top with some dry leaves that I've been collecting for a while now. I collect these to use it as a mulch in my garden. After filling it with fuel, that is the wood, it was shifted to some place safe to work with. To start the fire, a cloth dabbed with kerosene was used. The inner holes should not be blocked with the biomass, so I am just clearing it a little bit here. The inner container was drifting too much. It's a concern I need to fix. I thought this fire will stop after some time, but to my surprise, it did not. This is the part I'm really excited about because the stove is working. I can say that because the top part is charred but the flame is still on. If you notice the holes on the top, you can see that the flame is shooting from these holes. It means the stove is working exactly the way it should. The flames have subsided. Now we can sprinkle some water and stop the combustion. That's quite a strange sound. We've put the fire off, but it is still hot to touch. Seems like we can make some good quality biochar. Just see how brittle it is. This is the only way I know how to test it. So don't quote me here. The sad part of the video is I cannot make more trials as of now because the bottom of the container is melted away. I'm not sure if it was the heat or maybe because the wood ash contains sodium hydroxide and we poured water in it. Let's look at it this way. There is sodium hydroxide, there is water and it is sitting in an aluminum container. Does it ring any bell? Remember those famous gas balloon experiments where they put drain cleaners and aluminum foils in a bottle? We are very busy in the balloon getting inflated and flying it away, but we forget that the aluminum inside is getting dissolved. Something like that could have happened here. My objective for this video was to test the concept of a TLUD stove and I am more than happy with the results. Based on these results, I will make a better and a durable one in the future. Overall, this project was a success indeed. There is one drawback in this kind of TLUD stoves. We cannot feed wood just the way we would do in a normal rocket stove or in a regular stove for that matter. So what if you need to cook for a longer periods of time? Simple solution is make 2 sets of these. You know, the commercially available model has got one stand where the cooking container sits on top and they are supplied with 2 different canisters. And likewise, you can make 2 different canisters or 2 different stoves like this and get going. I think I've covered enough material for one video and I believe that this video was informative and useful. And if it was not, please do let me know because that was my goal and I want to know where I missed it. And I'll see you in my next video. Please do subscribe to my channel. It's really important for you guys to subscribe to this channel for this channel to thrive. I'll see you in my next video. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye-bye.